Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let us continue with our tafsir of Surah An-Nisaa. Bihawlillahi wa quwwatih. We are on ayah number 75. قال الله تعالى: وما لكم لا تقاتلون في سبيل الله والمستضعفين من الرجال والنساء والولدان الذين يقولون ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية الظالم أهلها واجعل لنا من لدنك وليا واجعل لنا من لدنك نصيرا. He begins with a question form. What is wrong with you that you do not fight in the way of Allah? This is an istifham inkari. It is a question of rejection, meaning Allah Jalla wa Ala rejects those people who choose not to fight fi sabilillah. He says, wal mustad'afina, from the root letters da'if, meaning weak. These are people who are oppressed, and the people referred to are the Muslims in Makkah who did not emigrate to Al-Madinah, and they were being oppressed by the mushrikeen. Makkah at that particular time was under the control of the mushrikeen. In a hadith, the Prophet made dua for them, where he said, Allahumma anji al-Walid ibn al-Walid. O Allah, save al-Walid ibn al-Walid, wa Salama ibn Hisham, wa Ayyash ibn Abi Rabi'ah, wal mustad'afina min al-mu'minin. He says, wal mustad'afina min al-rijal, from the men, wal nisa, and from the women, wal wildan, plural of walad, meaning children, alladhina yaquluna, those who say, Rabbana, O our Rabb. So this is a dua. Notice Rabbana, the Rabb is mansoob bil fatha, because there's meant to be a ya Rabbana, but it is mahdhuf because it is implied and well known. And when you're using a harful nida calling someone out, then the noun takes a fatha, it is mansoob, or the equivalent of a fatha, depending on the noun. Akhrijna, take us out from this qarya. Qarya can mean a town or village or city. Here it refers to the city of Makkah. Al-Zalim, the Zalim is a sifa of the qarya, but understood like this, one would think that the qarya is oppressive or a zalim. But Makkah is a city, and any city is not oppressive. It does not make sense. That's why he says ahluha, its people, meaning its people are oppressive, in that the mushrikun were oppressing the Muslimin in Makkah. And they say, waj'al lana min ladunka, appoint for us from yourself, waliyan, an ally, meaning somebody who will protect us, and appoint for us from yourself a nasiran, someone who will help us. So reflecting on this ayah, we find Allah Jalla wa Ala rebukes those who are lazy to fight in the way of Allah, when fighting in the way of Allah is the most righteous fight of them all, due to the benefits it brings to this ummah and to the Muslimin. We notice in this ayah that Allah Jalla wa Ala encourages the people to fight by telling them that there are oppressed Muslimin from your brothers and sisters who are making dua to Allah Jalla wa Ala for help. And you Muslimin can be the answer to this dua. And from this we also take that during all times and all places, wherever you find Muslimin being oppressed in a land, then it is obligatory for the ruler to appoint an army to save such people. We also take that it is permissible, indeed legislated, to make tawassul in your dua by making mention of the dire state that you are in, as these people are making dua to Allah by saying that we are in a city with oppressive people. So you make mention of the dire or distressful state that you're in. So that shows that you are sincere in your dua. And this is just one of the many ways of making tawassul or gaining a nearness to Allah Jalla wa Ala in your dua. We may also take that it is permissible to complain out aloud about someone who has oppressed you or wronged you. And this could very often be in business transactions. For example, if he's ripped you off or deceived you and so on. You're allowed to make mention of this to others and this would be to warn them against the deceptive tradesmen. We also note how they make dua to make them exit this place, because people are oppressing them. And so from this we can take that it is legislated to leave an oppressive place, meaning a place in which you are being oppressed, or even a place of shirk and bid'ah, to leave that place and to enter a place of the sunnah. We also notice how they say, grant us a wali and a nasir min ladunka, from you, because the gift that is from Allah, that is the truly valuable and beneficial gift. Also from tawassul in your dua, you can use the word Rabb, because you can make tawassul by all the names and attributes of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and from His names and attributes is Ar-Rabb, that's one of His names, and He has Ar-Rububiyyah, of course. We have ayah number 76. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يُقَاتِلُونَ في سبيل الطاغوت فقاتلوا أولياء الشيطان إن كيد الشيطان كان ضعيفا. He says, those who believe, those who have iman, they fight in the way of Allah, meaning to make the word of Allah the uppermost. And those who make kufr, that's a key term which has preceded, they fight in the way of at-taghut. At-taghut is any false god or anyone who is obeyed in opposition to Allah Jalla wa Ala. Then he gives the order, فَقَاتِلُوا, the order is to the Muslimin, the awliya of shaitan, the allies of shaitan, his supporters, and he's referring to the kuffar, because the kuffar are actually supporting the cause of shaitan. The ultimate cause of shaitan is to promote kufr, and that is exactly what the kuffar are doing. He says, indeed the kaid, which means the plotting, as in plotting and planning, of shaitan is weak. Notice how he says, kana da'ifa. It was weak and always was weak and will be weak. So it's more emphatic. As for the plot, then this refers to the wasawis, the whispering of shaitan, who adorns sin for mankind. In Surah Yusuf, where the wife of the minister tried to seduce Yusuf alayhi salam, he says, Inna kaydakunna azim. Your plotting is great. And this is because women are the weak spot for men. They are the biggest fitna and trial for men, as the Prophet told us, which would make their plotting in terms of seducing men to be great. As for the plot of shaitan being weak, then this is in comparison to the plot of Allah Jalla wa Ala against the kuffar. So the planning of shaitan is nothing compared to Allah's plan. The word shaitan is also a key term which has preceded. So reflecting on this ayah, we find two groups of people with opposing beliefs fighting for opposing things. Believers fighting for Allah, kuffar fighting for taghut. You may hear the kuffar saying how it is important to fight for queen and country and this type of thing. They are not fighting for Allah Jalla wa Ala. They put the queen and country on the same status as Allah. So therefore the queen and country becomes a taghut. And we may also take that whoever, even amongst the Muslims, fights for other than the sake of Allah Jalla wa Ala, then he has a quality of the kuffar. Does not mean he is a kafir, but he still has a quality of the kuffar. We also notice the obligation of fighting the kuffar, but also we find that Allah Jalla wa Ala encourages this fight, just like he did in the previous ayah, by making mention why we should fight. Here, he makes mention of the awliya of shaitan, that you're fighting the allies of shaitan. So why would you not want to fight? We also find from this ayah that the kuffar are from the allies of shaitan, because they are promoting kufr, and that is exactly what the shaitan wants. So they are essentially his useful idiots. We may also take from this ayah that we have nothing to fear from the kuffar nor from the shaitan if Allah Jalla wa Ala tells us that the plot of shaitan is ever weak. The shaitan certainly has the power of suggestion and the power to tempt you, but ultimately you are in control. هذا والله أعلم.